Hi, welcome to the Astellas US headquarters in Northbrook, Illinois. I'm Phil Tennant, Senior Vice President of our Oncology Business Unit in the US at Astellas.
Hi, Phil. We're really looking forward to learning more about gastric cancer with you today. Can you give us a quick overview of the disease?
Definitely. Gastric cancer, also called stomach cancer by many, is a rare but deadly cancer that impacts tens of thousands of people here in the US and even more globally. As the name suggests, it generally starts in the stomach or the GI tract, but it can spread from there throughout the body.
And why is Astellas researching this disease specifically?
Gastric cancer has a poor prognosis, especially for patients who have advanced disease, and is often devastating for patients and their families. We're hoping to change that.
So this hard-to-treat cancer is a priority for Astellas to investigate.
It is, and we're hoping to make progress against it through cutting-edge science.
What makes it so difficult to treat, particularly in the US?
In most cases, patients are diagnosed after the cancer has spread beyond the stomach, which rules out treatment approaches like surgery, since at that point, it's no longer a way to get rid of the disease entirely. That's why new research and innovative approaches are so desperately needed for those impacted by this awful disease.
And how long has Astellas been researching gastric cancer?
Several years now, since around 2016. And since then, we've learned a lot about gastric cancer, the changing treatment landscape, and the way the disease responds to certain therapies. But there's definitely a lot more work to be done.
Are you hopeful about where you're headed?
Absolutely. We have some incredible people involved in the research at Astellas who are working tirelessly to find innovative approaches to tackling this disease. We're also constantly learning from the patient community, our advocacy partners, and our peers in the healthcare industry. Speaking of, here's one of our wonderful development leads right now.
Hi there, I'm Pranob Bhattacharya, Global Development Project Leader and Executive Director here at Astellas.
Hi, nice to meet you. So I hear you're going to be walking us through some of the more scientific details related to gastric cancer today.
Definitely, I'm looking forward to it.
So Pranob, what are some of the things you do at Astellas specific to gastric cancer?
So here at Astellas, I'm assigned as the project lead for one of the gastric cancer programs, and I'm privileged to work with a world-class group of physicians, translational scientists, clinical pharmacologists, and many other team members who are all driven to further gastric cancer research in helping find innovative options for our patients.
Before we dive into the research, can you first share more about the disease in general? How prevalent is it?
Sure. In the US, it's number 15 on the list of common cancers.
What about globally?
So gastric cancer is more commonly diagnosed in other regions of the world, particularly in East Asia and Eastern Europe. In fact, it's the 5th most diagnosed cancer worldwide and the 4th leading cause of cancer-related death globally. With that said, outcomes have historically been poor around the globe, regardless of location. So it's important that research continues to ensure patients are able to get the care they need.
Interesting. Why the discrepancy between the US and other areas around the world?
While reasons aren't entirely clear, a few factors have contributed to its decline in the US. These include improvements in preservation and storage of food and the decline in infections with certain bacterium such as Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori, as you may know it.
Can you tell me more about these outcomes?
Unfortunately, the 5-year relative survival rate for gastric cancer in US is fairly low, only around 32%. Specifically, when a patient is diagnosed with gastric cancer that has metastasized and spread throughout their body, the 5-year relative survival rate is approximately 6%.
Wow, that is pretty jarring. Why is it caught so late?
That is because gastric cancer often presents symptoms that are typical of other stomach ailments. For example, someone may have reflux, abdominal pain, or nausea and attribute these symptoms to something else. Early stomach cancer typically doesn't present symptoms at all. So by the time these symptoms are bad enough and someone goes to the doctor, it's usually the cancer has advanced.
And what's being done for these patients to help improve these numbers?
The healthcare industry, us included, is looking for more targeted ways to tackle these tough cancers. At Astellas, we're specifically looking at the way biomarkers are expressed in certain cancers. From there, we can find a more targeted way to treat the cancer versus using a one-size-fits-all approach.
I keep hearing about biomarkers. Can you explain what these are and why they're important?
Absolutely. The identification of biomarkers is important to making medicine personalized. They're molecules that can help improve diagnosis, prognosis, prediction of recurrence, and treatment responses. It is important to note, though, that a presence of biomarker isn't a guarantee for a targeted treatment. Even if someone identifies a biomarker in testing, there may not be an effective, safe option available yet.
What are some of the biomarkers that someone might be tested for?
Established biomarkers such as HER2, MSI, MMR, PD-L1 can all be used to inform clinical decisions. Other emerging biomarkers such as Claudin 18.2 or FGFR2 may help identify previously undefined groups of cancer patients.
Are there some specific biomarkers that Astellas is interested in?
Yes, there are some emerging biomarkers that are prevalent among metastatic gastric cancer patients. We've been looking at Claudin 18.2 as a potential target, since the expression of this protein specifically has been seen to be high among gastric cancer patients.
What exactly is Claudin 18.2?
Claudins are a family of transmembrane proteins that are involved in controlling the flow of molecules between cells. Claudins are present throughout the body, but there are two specific isoforms of Claudin 18 that are localized to certain tissue types. The one we're looking at is Claudin 18.2. It is the dominant isoform found in normal, healthy gastric epithelial cells.
How common is this gene in gastric cancer?
So roughly 1/3 of gastric cancers express high levels of Claudin 18.2, which makes it an excellent target, and that is why we're researching it.
And is it in any other cancers?
It is. Claudin 18.2 has been seen to be overexpressed in pancreatic, esophageal, ovarian, and lung cancers. This tells us that further understanding and targeting this gene could be useful not just in gastric cancer, but also beyond.
So with all this in mind, tell us what's next.
So we're on a mission to use this knowledge to create a biomarker-driven therapy to advance care in a personalized manner for our patients. We currently have a few trials ongoing, and we're looking for ways to continue to advance our science. We have started to see changes happening within the treatment landscape already.
Is there anything you're personally most excited about as you research this disease?
Indeed. I'm personally invested and I'm privileged to be a part of this journey. I'm looking forward to continuing and furthering gastric cancer research and being able to find an innovative treatment option for our patients.
Wonderful. And it looks like there may be some other team members here to talk to us as well.
Speaking of, here comes one of our global brand leads now.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me join you. My name is Shelley Shaw, and I'm the Global Commercial Lead for GI Cancers here at Astellas.
Shelley, what's your role here in the fight against gastric cancer here at Astellas?
Important aspects of my role include understanding the patient journey at a global level and identifying the unmet needs for patients and healthcare professionals.
And what inspired you to take on this work?
For me, this is very personal. Cancer hit my family twice. My mom was diagnosed at the young age of 48 with breast cancer and lost her battle at age 51. 2 decades later, my oldest sister was also diagnosed with cancer at the age of 48 with multiple myeloma and lost her battle at the age of 53. So I know personally how cancer can impact patients as well as those loved ones that surround them.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course, I think it's important for us to use our voices and our individual experiences to make a change, whether that's through research, participation in trials, sharing stories, or whatever it may be.
So what would you say is the most surprising thing you've learned about gastric cancer in your role?
I would say how few options exist for advanced gastric cancer patients. While significant progress has been made in other cancer types, which has led to improving the prognosis, the gastric cancer space remains stagnant for over a decade.
But you all are hoping to change that, right?
Eventually, yes, there's a lot of research in progress to help us make strides towards that goal.
Beyond the research, what else has Astellas been doing in this space?
I'm glad you asked. We've gotten the chance to meet some incredible people who have had their lives changed by gastric cancer. Learning from them and witnessing their strength through a journey with devastating cancer that has a very poor prognosis has been so inspiring and helps put everything into perspective. Why more treatment options are needed. And we've connected with many patients, advocates, and their families through amazing gastric cancer advocacy groups. Working with groups and people like this helps to reinforce all the work that we're doing to change lives through research.
So at the end of the day, what do you all hope to accomplish for these individuals?
At the end of the day, we'd hope to play a part, even a small one, in a world without this terrible disease. That may be far away. There's a lot of research to be done, but we're on a mission to change tomorrow for the patients, families, friends, and everyone impacted by gastric cancer.